All right. Today, we're going to dive into a really powerful way of looking at our deepest emotional struggles, and more importantly, how we can transform them. This is a journey from a place of pain to a place of real purpose. And honestly, it might just change how you see everything. So let's start with a big question, one that's kind of at the heart of it all. We all want connection, right? With people, with ideas, with God. But what does it mean for that connection to be actually alive? Not just some, lifeless copy of the real thing. To really get our heads around this, let's kick things off with a fantastic analogy from the source material. Okay, so picture two painters. The first one, technically perfect. They created an exact copy of a scene. You can look at it and say, wow, that's accurate, but it feels cold, doesn't it? Lifeless. Now, the second painter, maybe their lines aren't as precise, but their painting just radiates with energy. You can feel the artist's soul in every single brushstroke, and it's the same with learning. You can read a text and make a perfect little copy in your brain, but a real connection, that happens when you tap into the life force of the teaching and you make it a living, breathing part of you. So, what's stopping us from having that living connection all the time? Well, a lot of the time, it's this part of ourselves that was created a long, long time ago, a concept called the surviving child.
And here is a paradox that kind of unlocks the whole thing. According to Chassidut, which is a school of Jewish mysticism, our deepest psychological wounds, our problems, they aren't things we need to fix before we can get spiritual. No, it's the other way around. They exist to push us toward that deeper connection. They're the doorway, not the wall in front of it.
So, who is this surviving child, or in Hebrew, the Yeled Sored? Well, it's an identity we build, usually without even knowing it, based on stuff that happened when we were kids. It's that part of us that feels like something is fundamentally missing, the part that truly believes our value is 100% dependent on what other people think of us. It's a survival mechanism that we've just never outgrown.
So, how does this even happen? The process is usually tragically simple. Step 1, a child doesn't get the attention they so desperately need. Step 2, this makes them feel completely unimportant. Step 3, from that feeling, they draw a devastating conclusion. There must be something wrong with me. I am unworthy. And so, step 4, to survive, they learn to become a people pleaser, doing anything and everything to get just a crumb of validation.
Now, I know this can sound a bit abstract, so let's look at a case study from the source material that makes this crystal clear. It's the story of what happens when two of these surviving children fall in love. So here we have a husband and a wife. And if you look at this table, you'll see they have the exact same backstory. Both of them grew up feeling invisible to their parents. Both of them internalized this core belief that they were basically worthless. And both of them learned the exact same way to cope. Just be good, be helpful, do whatever it takes to please people, and most importantly, avoid their anger. So one day, the husband gets home. He's totally drained from a whole day of pleasing his boss, his coworkers, everyone. He looks at his wife, who's also exhausted, and he sees her looking to him for the same validation he's starving for. And in that one moment, he doesn't see his wife. He sees a mirror of his own suffocating neediness. And this just shows you the toxic psychology that's happening. He just lashes out at her with contempt. But who is he really angry with? He's angry at her for showing him the part of himself that he absolutely hates, that desperate approval-seeking child inside. He's projecting his own self-hatred right onto her. And this just kicks off a heartbreaking, vicious cycle. The more he rages, the more her own surviving child gets triggered. She becomes terrified, so she tries even harder to please him, just to make the anger stop. But her frantic pleasing just reminds him more of his own weakness, which only makes him rage even more. They are completely and utterly trapped. So, how does a cycle like this ever break? Well, the source suggests that the absolute breaking point is also the turning point. It's when the surviving child is just so exhausted and has nowhere left to turn that a new conversation can finally begin. Let's go back to the wife in this story. Imagine her. She's tried everything. She is completely crushed, depleted. She has spent her entire life chasing recognition and has gotten none of it. It's in this moment of total surrender that a deeper voice inside her can finally be heard. The voice of her soul, her neshama. And what's the first thing this voice says? It's not some quick fix. It's just a fundamental truth. It gently tells that exhausted part of her, hey, you've been looking in the wrong place. The validation you're dying for, it will never, ever come from out there. And then, this is the line that changes everything. The soul says, but you don't need to look for it. Because you have my recognition. You have always had it, and you will always have it. This is the moment the entire world of the surviving child just crumbles. The source of her value shifts from outside to inside.
And then finally, the soul offers a new identity, a new job. It doesn't just offer comfort, it offers a purpose. It says, instead of being a child who spends her life seeking love, will you be my partner, my emissary, so we can go give this love to the world together? The pain is being transformed into a mission. And this whole internal dialogue, it isn't just some nice little thought experiment. It has profound real-world consequences. It marks the transformation from a life of survival to a life of mission. See, the key here is this huge identity shift. The surviving child, that part lives in constant fear of rejection. Its whole operating system is about seeking approval. But the divine emissary, that part is grounded in a deep, unshakable internal sense of worth. They don't need to get love anymore. Their whole purpose now is to give it.
So let's go back to our couple one last time. After this internal shift, the next time her husband starts to rage, something is totally different. She's not plugged into that old fear response anymore. Because her own value isn't on the line, she doesn't see an attacker trying to destroy her. No, for the very first time, she sees his surviving child and all the pain that's driving it. So instead of cowering in fear, which just used to fuel his anger, she can now meet him with this quiet strength, this compassion. And her response is so different, so totally unexpected, that it short-circuits the entire toxic dynamic. She doesn't fix him. Her own healing creates the space for him to heal, too. And this brings us right to the ultimate point. Where does this light, this power to completely transform, actually come from? The source material is very clear about this. This whole process, recognizing the inner wound, hearing the soul's voice, and shifting from a survivor to an emissary, this is the core teaching of Chassidut. It's not just a theory, it's a practical path to accessing the light and the life that is already inside all of us. It allows us to finally see what was there the whole time. And so we end right where we started. This whole framework, it's not just a story about some couple. It's a mirror. So the real question, the final question, is for you. Which voice are you listening to right now? The one telling you that you have to constantly earn your worth? Or the one that's telling you you're here to give it? Are you surviving, or are you on a mission?